have one line here. When you're sewing a dart, just make sure you trace one line, only one side of the line, because for you to match both sides of the lines, it'll take you forever. Okay? By the time you finish matching, I already into the coffin already. So usually is we draw one line here. We need the push point here. I have a push point here already. Second thing you need to do is you need to do the notch. When the notch match, you just match the notch here. Follow the lines that you trace, and then you just sew reverse stitch. Sew all the way to here. Just follow this line. Then here just pull out. Okay. This one like how we usually do lor. Okay. You've sewn this before, right?
The blazer.
You will tie 1, 2, 3. The Chinese will do 4 times. Not necessary lah. 3 times enough already. Not unless you are very Chinese. You want to do 8 times also can. Up to you. Okay, so the same thing here also. You go and draw this notch to here. Draw one side of it, match back the notch. The notch and the notch needs to match back. Then first thing first is you sew here. Then you refer this to flat. Do you bought the zipper or not? I asked you to buy zipper, right? What is the inches I asked you to get? 6 I think it's shorter now. Never mind.
Okay,
if it is got extra, then you just okay again. 3 times can really. But the Chinese will say 3 means is still alive. Sound. 4. Say. Okay. I think I did more than that already. Just okay. So once this is done, we'll go and iron. Okay. The dart when usually for pants, right, we will iron towards the center back or the back crotch. You see the back crotch here? So we'll iron this to this side here. Okay. I'm going to iron first. Crotch here, the center crotch. Okay. After you iron this, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to iron the hemline. Why I say iron the hemline is because once your pattern is still flat, right, it's easy for you to just iron while you can still iron on the flat area. Or else sometimes once you sew this already, right, you have to find the armrest on that side, right, just to find where to go and iron. It will take you very long time to adjust. Okay, so usually what I'll do is before I sew the inseam, first thing first is I'll go and iron the hemline first while the pattern is still lay flat like this. So when you sew this, don't just take this and sew here, okay, because once you open seam, you can still see the seam allowance like this. The finishing won't be nice. Okay, so imagine now once you iron the hemline up, right? Now the thing about hemline is up to you. It can be, because this one I measure is about 4 cm, so it could be 2 cm, 2 cm, which means first fold is at 2 cm, second fold is another 2 cm. Okay, you find 2 cm is too small. Sometimes you see some of our pants, it can be up to like 3 cm. So I leave it to you. If you are doing 3 cm, means the first fold is at 1 cm, the second fold is at 3 cm. It will all add up to 4 cm. Okay, so I iron these two so you can see one is at 3 cm, one is at 2 cm. Okay, so once this is done, you just need to open this up again. Okay, so the good thing about this is you have the fold line to refer back to the fold line, and then you stitch it at what's the measurement here already? Remember this is bigger. Half an inch. The inseam here is same as the outseam, is half an inch. If not, you refer back to your what's it called? Your pattern piece. Put this here first. refer back to your pattern piece, then you know. Now the next thing I want you to do is you sew this already. First thing first is, forgot to mark here, this part here on the crotch. Basically when you sew the inseam, right now you are sewing this inseam, then this will touch on the crotch. Now the crotch area here, mark a 1/4 inch here. This 1/4 inch, where is 1/4 inch? I think this is 1/4 inch. Mark where the 1/4 inch is. This part here, the 1/4 inch, you're not going to sew. If it is a full scale, this is at 1 cm. So what I meant by don't sew is you follow, then you sew until here, 1/2 inch, right? Then it comes all the way down to here, then you stop at the 1/4 inch here. Don't go over it. So now you're sewing it here, do a reverse stitch. So you see this part here, the 1/4 inch, I can actually open up. Okay, I'll tell you what this is for. Okay, usually we don't sew all the way, not unless it's that denim pants, then we will sew. Okay, then comes back to here again, open up all the folds. Sew at 1/2 inch. Then again the same thing here. You put 1/4 inch here, a marking of a 1/4 inch. This part here you're not gonna sew. So this one clear. So once this is done, so you just press your open seam. Then just fold this back here. Back here. This is the last part that you're gonna do top stitching. So leave this hemming just as it is like this. Okay. So because I want one part is top stitch, the other one is you use hand to stitch. You need to learn how to do the blind stitch. Okay, similar to here. So here just do the press open seam. This two is done already, right? Now the next thing is, before we stitch this crotch line together, we will take one thing which is our fly. You see this fly here? We will take this fly first. Okay, we will take the fly. The fly will belongs to one side of it, be on the left side. Left side means you see which pants belongs to the left. Actually, this one is the left side. My pocket is here, this is my left hand. Okay, so the fly belongs to here. So first thing first is you go and sew the fly here first, match it back to here, and then this part here is 1/2 inch also, so you stitch at 1/2 inch. So this all the way down 1/2 inch. Catch this to here already, right? Okay, then the next thing you're gonna do is the fly you need to iron interfacing. You can use the soft interfacing here I have. Then the one that you need to overlock is just the curve, the straight line you don't have to overlock. Okay, then you need to do is push this fly to this side, then do a stay stitch here. Okay, can. So once this is done already, so before you sew your zipper, right, before you sew a zipper here, usually what we do is, before we sew anything, we will start to sew the crotch already. Now what you do with the crotch is, the trick is always very easy. Sometimes you don't know where to match. Okay, so first thing first is, you see this part that you sew the fly and the fly and the pants, right? This is showing you the right side is here, the wrong side is here, right? So here is wrong side. It's a similar thing, right? What we usually do is we will actually do opposite, which means the right side here, wrong side on the outside. Wrong side here, we push this in, so it becomes the opposite side. Opposite side means this part here, you have the right side, wrong side inside. So it's opposite, you know, which means wrong side, right side, two different places, right? Then you just take, this is difficult when it's a long pants. Usually long pants you have a lot of long, your inseam and outseam, right, very long. So usually we'll pull one side of it out, the opposite side, then we just take this entire thing and then we dump it in. Dump it in means you will see it match back already. Match back means right side facing right side. Dart and dart face back. Here's the back crotch. You see everything matched together already. So that's why when you're sewing this crotch area, right, take one side of it to be the opposite side, then throw it inside. Okay, once you throw it inside here, it's much easier to sew already. Now the next thing you're gonna do is, I forgot where is the point already. Here needs to draw. You use your what's it called? Use your pattern piece to check. If I'm not mistaken, should be somewhere here. Here is the 1/4 inch. Your pattern piece, the paper pattern piece will show. Here is the 1/4 inch. I have a push point here somewhere like this. Okay, then you have a notch here. Later I'll tell you what this is about. I think I've explained this before already, right? Do you know why the center back is slanted like this? Where you have like a bigger seam allowance here. You know why? Exam, if this is the exam, you'll fail. Yeah. Do you remember or not?
Is it the back?
Here's the center back one. Why center back has this big seam allowance here?
So when you wear,
So when you sit down, it
Huh?
when you sit down, it doesn't expose your ass.
Expose your ass? Okay, no.
Not like
The crack. No. Okay,
this one is like a fold, right? At the
yeah,
back.
it becomes the open seam already. So the open seam is, why so big here on the open seam? Our seam line usually 1 cm only.
So it will be more durable.
Not necessary.
Okay.
Okay,
因为我的朋友是凹进去的。
not necessary. Okay. But the truth is, okay, the truth, match back the seam here. Don't sew over it. So what you do is, here is a 1/4 inch. Do reverse stitch until you touch where the seam of the stitching line of the fly. That's the starting point. You do a reverse stitch, then you go down here, and make sure this part here is able to open the 1/4 inch here. Then you continue to stitch here. Okay, when you stitch here also, usually what we do is, because crotch, right? What happens with crotch is when you sit down and the crotch will actually stretch. So when you sew this, right, what I want you to do is, I want you to pull when you're sewing. Pull the crotch line. Okay? I will show you what if I don't pull and what I pull later. Okay? Usually here we'll pull. If you find very hard to control, use a pin to pin down this part here first. This part here needs to match back. Then you use your finger, right? Just pull, then you stitch until this part here will match back this opening. This opening, make sure you stitch it at this 1/4 inch here. You see here, I stitch a 1/4 inch. Don't stitch above, see wherever you see a hole. Your hole, then when you sit down, there'll be a hole right there. Okay? So then, after this is done, continue to stitch here. And then pull. You see my finger is pulling the crotch. Okay, So your finger here is trying to pull. Pull means I'm trying to pull here. Especially the center back here or the bottom part here, you need to pull more. When you're stitching that time, you pull. Just treat it like a cheese. You pull the cheese. Huh? When you eat cheese, you got pull one or not? No, just eat. Okay, good. So here, just pull. Then now this pine here will follow the straight line here already. This straight line will follow here. Now once you're done here, you don't stop here, no. Okay, done. Reverse stitch, no. Okay. Pants, sometimes the crotch line will sew double line. Okay, because you know why? Once one line break, you still have another line is there to, you know, you don't have a hole lah. All I can say. I don't know whether you got this problem or not. My brother always come back to me, hey, can you sew my crotch? The crotch always they do a lot of you know, climbing and what, right? Then becomes always here will break a hole here. So my brother always give me 3 or 4 pants, ask me to just sew it back. So every time when I see an open, it's only one stitching line. That's why it's easily break. I don't know whether this problem or not. No, never.
I did when I was small.
Your uniform, if you see your uniform, because I always sew my brother's uniform. I say, hey, my pants got one hole. I say, okay. So here, usually we sew two lines. That's why every time when I sew my brother's pants, I will sew 2 lines and then I add on a top stitching line. Then you won't see me for like 4 to 5 months. Then after that, you come back again because heavy duty. Okay, so just do this like this. When you stitch, you stitch exactly on the same line, you know. Just go slowly, no need to rush. Okay, if the stylo and then bell come in also, you just continue to sew. Okay, if it is on fire, continue to sew. No need to rush. Okay, this one.
It's like that one meme where the guy is like still sewing while the sewing machine is still on fire.
And the whole side here is like all
Yeah, it's already
burning.
overloading.
Okay, here just sew until you reach to the other side. You have a zipper stopper here, right? This zipper stopper don't go over the overlock. You see this overlock here? Overlock of your fly. Don't go over it. Over it means I can see from here, right? If I put it all the way down to here, then I can see it is touching on my overlock line. Now why I say cannot touch the overlock line is because when we do top stitching of a fly, we actually top stitch the overlock line. So if this metal stopper is at the overlock line, what will happen is your needle will break. Okay, so make sure this stopper here must be above the overlock line. Above a little bit, you place it here. Then the next thing you do is you just try to move this zipper fabric next to the seam line here. Next to the seam line here. Okay, next to it. So if you want, I can pin it down. Pin it down here. Then here also I pin it down towards here. Pin it down here. Okay. So make sure you try to open this. Does the metal stopper touch the overlock? No. If it doesn't touch, it's fine. Okay. Now the next thing you want to do is this part of the zipper fabric that is closer to the edge of your fly. This part is the one that we are going to top stitch to the fly. The one that is closer to the center front crotch, this is going to be the zipper that is going to sew to the other side. Okay. So what I do now is I'm pinning down on the one that is closer to the crotch line, right? Okay. So the one that it needs to be on the crotch line here, this fabric at the bottom for this zipper, you will need to pull up. Pull up means you need to pull this up. Okay. just to make sure this part of the fabric don't sew to the fly, because this part of the zipper belongs to the other side. Okay, understand? Huh? So the one that is closer to the crotch line, this bottom part needs to fold up, and then you pin down like this first. Okay, then the next thing you do is just top stitch here. When you top stitch here, you can top stitch at 0.5. 0.5 means your zipper teeth is here, right? Your footer just next to the zipper teeth, and then you sew this 0.5 all the way up. Then when it comes to here, it's closer to the zipper head already, right? This one need to release already. Release means you open this zip, push it down, then you sew all the way up. Okay, some people, right, they don't just stop here, they will actually sew rectangle shape. Rectangle shape means I'll sew to here. Here a bit difficult to sew. Some people, they will change here to one side footer. Okay, because you will need to sew this. Something like this. A bit hard to sew. So if you cannot sew, then you just sew. Just make sure you don't sew the zipper teeth. Okay, here is sewn a rectangle shape, just to secure this to here. Okay. Then the next thing you do is you will have to fold this down to here. Fold this down to here. Okay. And then what you do is you have to trace this J stitch already. We call this J stitch because this part here, you have to top stitch this. Now where do I top stitch is basically, if you can, right? Okay. Try to find where is the middle of the overlock is. You see this overlock is about 0.5 cm, right? Okay, you try to mark where the middle point is, somewhere here, you mark. If it is very hard, usually what I'll do is I actually pin this down. I'll actually pin this down. Pin this down. Pin this down. Got tracing wheel and tracing paper. Got tracing wheel and tracing paper. Can I borrow? We are gonna do this. Usually what I'll do is, if I trace this line to here, what will happen is you don't catch the overlock track. So what you want to do is you want to trace the line in the middle of this overlock. Can see, right? In the middle of this overlock. So what will happen is I will actually trace the line somewhere inside here. Okay, I'll trace the line somewhere inside here. If you have a tracing wheel, much easier lah. You put the tracing paper here. Then you use the tracing wheel. When you trace the tracing wheel, right, you trace it in the middle of the overlock. Then you will see the tracing line here already. Then you just follow. Okay. So remember, when you're sewing this, right, just remember this part here needs to be folded up. Then you do a top stitching line here. Easy, right? Senang? Don't want to sew pants really. This metal plate keeps coming up. Then do a reverse stitching. And sew a reverse one. Not difficult, right? As long as you catch her, shouldn't be a problem already. Okay? Once you catch her, then this is fine. Actually, this here is still a bit long lah. Okay? So sometimes if you don't want to cut, it's fine. No need to cut also, it's fine. Okay? So just leave it like this. And then this part here, unpin. So this one is belong to the other side. Belong to the other side means to this side here. Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to open this up to see where is the zipper. Where's the zipper means for me to know where is this zipper matching to. Okay, this zipper is going to match to here, which what you're seeing now is from my zipper teeth, from this zipper teeth in the middle here to my center front crotch here, right, it's giving me roughly about 1 cm. Roughly about 1 cm. I try to measure and see. Now you see it's giving roughly about 1 cm, correct? Betul? Betul, right? In the middle of the teeth to the seam line here is giving me 1 cm, you know. So in order for me to match back this part of the center front, this part of the center front is 1/2 inch. So maybe I mark here 1/2 inch. This part of the 1/2 inch, this one will need to match back the crotch line of both my center front. So which means this one, when I match this back to here, they will match back to center front. Okay, you get what I mean, right? This one will match back to the center front. But the issue is my zipper is hidden inside by 1 cm. Correct? So what you do is, if my zipper is hidden inside 1 cm, what you do from this 1/2 inch is, from this 1/2 inch, you move in 1 cm. Sorry, move out 1 cm towards here, 1 cm. So then that leaves you about 0.5 gap here already. This one leave you roughly about 0.5 gap here. Roughly 0.5 gap here. This one will give you 1 cm, right? See, 1 cm. Okay, so what you do here is you try to fold this in, go and iron this 0.5. Iron this 0.5. Okay, iron already, right? We were going to top stitch this fold line to here. So when I close this back, you'll see when I close this back, right, this front crotch here will match back to the dotted line. See, it will match back to my center front crotch again. Can see, right? So what happens is we are trying to hide this zipper inside, because I rarely see pants now, right? You see right away. I haven't opened this zip. I can see the zip already. I rarely see it. Go home and see. If you found a zip that I haven't even opened, I already see the zip, show me. If it is fly, maybe something new. I haven't discovered something new yet. Okay, pants always is still try to hide the zipper inside here by either 0.5 or let's say in this case we have 1 cm, right? We need to hide this inside here so you don't see the zipper right away. Okay, so what you need to do is always remember, once you finish sewing, right, just try to measure here how many cm you're going to move out from your original. That's why usually center front here, the crotch, right, you cannot just leave 1 cm, you know. Remember here we move out 1 cm. If your seam allowance here is just 1 cm, what else you gonna catch? Nothing you can catch already. Then if you don't have nothing to catch, when you try to fold this to here, right, the center front crotch and center front crotch don't match anymore. It becomes even shorter. Okay, so always remember the front crotch here. That's why you see the front crotch here. What we're gonna do is we will take the shield. This is the shield. The shield is just to make sure that something to protect your inner pants. So this shield here, okay, you need to sew one side of it. The other side no need to sew. Okay, the longer line you need to overlock. The shorter line you don't have to overlock. One side of it you need to sew. So let's say I pick here and then I sew here at quarter inch. So this at quarter inch. Then I cut this. I pull this out. So if let's say here you cut a triangle shape, easier for you to push out. Okay, push out already, right? So the next thing you're gonna do is you try to get this fly. You can iron first, iron it flat. You get this fly covers to here, covers to this side here. You see, it covers the zip. Then this part here, the overlock, maybe you can just put it next to the overlock. You still see the overlock here, next to the overlock. Then what you do is you do a running stitch here first. Running stitch just to secure this zipper and the fly together. Just run. Run this to one stitch. Run already, right? The next thing we do now is we take this and we place it here and then we top stitch here. Okay, top stitch here. Now sometimes, okay, if you don't want it to be next to the zipper, right, remember just now I put 1 cm gap. What if I don't want this to be next to the zipper? I want to leave a gap of 0.5 away from the zipper teeth. Then here you don't iron 0.5, you iron at 1 cm. You get what I mean, right? This one, mathematics. You take out 0.5, you take in 0.5. Balance back. Okay. So because sometimes for you to change this footer to what's it called? The footer to one side footer, you take your time, right? Okay. So sometimes what I'll do is I will iron this another additional 0.5. But when I stitch here, I'll stitch this away from the zipper teeth about 0.5. Then I sew here. Can or not? Is it too difficult? No, right? No. Ada?
She's sitting on the chair.
Okay, when it comes to the bottom part here, very hard to sew. So what you do is you unzip it all the way down so you can push this to one side. And then this part here need to go in about 0.5. Okay, somewhere here. So do all the way down to this part here where it reached this 0.5 here. Adjust the zipper a bit because sometimes the zipper is like slanted to one side already. Okay, so then you have this 0.5 gap. Third line will match back to the crotch. You can see, right? Okay, so once you do this and match back, you have nothing wrong with your waist round already. Okay, now the next thing you do is sometimes here, right, what happen is here sometimes this part here is not so you have like a little gap. Sometimes you didn't sew lah, because again when it comes very close to here, very hard for you to sew already. So that's why sometimes you see they will either do like a like a zigzag stitch here just to cover this. Second thing is to hold this and this together. Okay, so maybe I do this one inside first. Hold this and this together means when I wear this, I don't want this fly to move everywhere. It's like going everywhere. So what you do is lay this flat, then you can actually put this here and you sew here. Sew here means you can sew this part here. On the fly, right, a little bit here, you just do a reverse stitch just to secure this. Sometimes they sew like this so that you don't see the back tag very obvious right here. Sometimes what they do is they will actually straight away sew here already. Sew here means but they'll do zigzag stitch here lah. That's why you sometimes see a zigzag stitch here. Okay, this is just to make sure when I unzip this, right, when I unzip this is always secure here, because if I don't do this top stitch, this fly could be the other side already. So this is the thing lah. This shield is just a protection only. Then the next thing is to secure this nicely. Right? Okay, this is what I always do to my brother's pants also, so that he don't come and bother me every time. Like, oh, I need to fix my pants. It's okay. So what happened is I will usually do a top stitching here. You done this already, right? To double secure this, double, triple, and 10 times secure this, we'll do this. Okay, this part here we'll sew a little triangle shape. The triangle shape will look something like this. Okay. Then because all this seam allowance is pushed to the fly area, right? Then you just do top stitching here, like a stay stitch only. You're doing a stay stitch here, doing a stay stitch here, doing a stay stitch here. You secure this, and then this part here is open seam, right? This part here is open seam. So usually what I'll do is I'll do a little square here, little square here. Which means what, here you have 3 to 4 thread holding this already. If this break, something is wrong with this guy. Don't know what is he doing. Cowboy maybe. It's very heavy duty. Don't know what is he doing. Speeds?
Split.
Oh, splits, yeah. Yes, mama.
Very lucky.
Doing splits, doing all sorts of things. So here I'll also add on another stitching line. This is to triple 4 times so that my brother don't come and bother me anymore. He will last me for like months. They won't come and see me anymore. Okay, so this is just to make sure everything is secure nicely. If you don't want to reverse stitch, is also fine. Then here just stop, which means here you have 4 threads in the front already. Like I said, if something wrong, he's your enemy. If your brother come back to you and say, hey, you still break the crotch, he's your enemy. He